The chains need to be cleaned also. You can put them in your cleaner to get most of the rough grime off of them. And then you could take a Brillo pad, and it works really well for shining the chains up. But you need to inspect each link of the chains. And in this particular case, let's see if you could spot it. See if I went too far maybe already. Let's try it again. Like I said, you want to inspect each chain to make sure that there's no deformities, that they're not coming apart. You see what I'm seeing? This particular chain has a deformity right here. Sometimes you could straighten these things out, but this link is bent so bad that I'm just going to take that link out and continue on. And I believe there's another damaged one. Let's see if we could spot it. But the chains, if they're not proper, they will stop clock. They'll get inside the gears and they will not want to turn properly because they're not catching properly. So you want to make sure that you inspect each chain link. Make sure that they're closed and that they're not open. And that there's nothing corroding them. Like I said, a Brillo pad works really well. Here's one where the link is not, it wasn't binding. I'm just trying to do this video and show y'all what to look for. But make sure there's no deformities on your chains. And fix them if you can. If you can't, replace them. Again, eBay, Merits, Time Savers, Black Force clock, cuckoo clock, whatever, wherever you get your supplies from. There's one here on the end that is open. That will stop the clock. You need to close them. Okay, I didn't really think that I needed to show you how to actually put the chains on the movement, but if you need me to, on the time side, the ratchet goes that way. So start your chain going up through there, and then once you start it, you can turn the ratchet and feed it all the way around. I always start the time chain first, and I get them to where they're about halfway, and then I'll wrap the time side around the clock. Sort of like so. That way it stays on while you're trying to feed the strike side. And the strike side, you got to feed it up. You got to feed it up this way and around. And again, pull them about halfway. Now, there are some 8-day movements that have covers in the great wheels that prevent the chains from getting off the uh, wheels. And I really like that portion of it because it's really upsetting when you did all this work and you try to put the movement inside the clock and the chain comes off. But let me show you how to do that next. Once you got your chains on the wheels, put the minute and hour arbor inside the hole that the cuckoo clock is used to put on the wall. And again, that's why I use magnetic screwdrivers. I used to take a pair of tweezers and stick them up the holes and grab each chain. And I found out it's easier to use a magnetic screwdriver. Now, even though these are brass in color, they're not brass chains. Now, some of the very old clocks did use brass chains, and I do have one. With the screwdriver in the hole, you drop the chain down, the screwdriver grabs a hold of the chain, and then you can pull it out of the hole. I don't know if you saw that on camera because I wasn't looking at my phone, so I'm going to do it again. Put the screwdriver in the hole, put the chain next to the screwdriver that has a magnetic tip on it. It's a lot easier to do this with two hands, by the way. And you have one side of the chain. The next one, you do the same way. Put the screwdriver in the hole. My Phillips head is magnetic also, but my straight head has got more of a grip to it, my flathead screwdriver. But put the chain next to the screwdriver, pull the screwdriver out, your chain comes out with your screwdriver. So y'all got the point. I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other chain. Now that chains are installed, all you would normally have to do is just put the clock moving in there. But because this has the musical box with it, I have to get the lever, the wire that I was talking about at the beginning to get attached in this hole that will catch the wire to activate the music. I can't do this while I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to do it off camera. There I have the wire in the lever, so now I can put the movement into the clock. Now, if I had the pendulum leader attached to this clock, I would have to be fighting with the pendulum leader to go in this slot, and that's why I take the pendulum leader off whenever I'm working on the clock. It's easy to put back on after you got everything together. Now, before you put the screws in, remember we still have the cuckoo bird that we got to put on. And because the cuckoo birds with the musical boxes, the music box and this wire can get in the way when you're trying to put the cuckoo bird on after you got the movement tightened into the box. So this would be a good time to put the cuckoo bird back onto its perspective arm. Don't forget, every time you're taking something apart, you want to put it back together in reverse. When you put the cuckoo bird on, you want to put his wire up through the hole and close the wire. And let the door shut. You see how it snaps? That's the way it's supposed to shut. Snap. Same way with the little man on the other side. It's supposed to snap. Now, if the wire is not bent all the way closed or close to being closed, the wire itself could catch on the wood particles. The bird could catch. The inside platform can catch. Several things can catch to keep this bird door from closing. So check it all out. As you can see, I don't have the movement secured because the minute and hour arbor hand is touching the dial, and you do not want that, because if the arbor is touching anywhere in the dial, the hour hands and the hour hand and the minute hand will not rotate properly because there's friction from the dial. So sometimes when you're working on older clocks, people put a different movement in and they put different holes in. Sometimes it's easier to take the dial plate off. And with newer clocks, they're only held into place with 3 nails at the 10 o'clock, the 2 o'clock, and the 6 o'clock. And you could take a screwdriver gently, a flathead screwdriver, gently pry it around the dial arbor and pop it off. And those screws are very tiny, so you want to be careful and not to lose them. And then you can reset the dial so the center arbor is in the center of this hole if you're having trouble positioning the movement to prevent the arbor from hitting the dial. You can take this off and position it a little bit. With that said, you might have to clean up around where the dial used to sit, shine it up, take a marker that was made to fill in colors on wood,